Branching is a way to quickly spin up a clone of your Supabase project, or at least the database schema and edge functions bit. We don't want to duplicate a bunch of PII data all over the place, but these clones allow you to configure separate environments like staging and production, or have a separate branch for every feature you're working on in your application. In this video, we'll look at managing this process from the Supabase dashboard, and at the end, I'll show you a really easy way that we can automate this entire thing. So let's get into it. So here I have my super basic Supabase project. We have one table for posts, which contain a bunch of posts from my blog. But I want to add the ability for users to comment on any of these blogs. And rather than just creating this column directly and changing my database schema directly in my production database, I'm going to instead create a branch so that I can build out this feature and thoroughly test it, and maybe get someone else on the team to thoroughly test it and review those changes before we merge it into production. So this main branch is my main production branch for Supabase, and I can make a copy of that state of my Supabase project by creating a branch. This one can be called add comments. We'll look at syncing this with GitHub later. This is just letting us know that this branch is going to cost us money, and we might want to consider point-in-time recovery. I'm all good for now, so I'm going to create this branch, and then we can switch over to that branch and see it's still spinning up. And once that's finished, we can come over to the table editor and see our post table, which doesn't have any data in it, because again, we're not just copying and pasting PII data across all of our branches. That would not be a good idea. But now we can add our new column for comments, and let's say the data type for this one is just text to keep it simple, and click save to create that column. And so now if we want to merge this new column into our main branch, as we can see, that post table just has ID created at and title, but to merge it, we can switch back to that branch and then say we want to review the changes. This will then drop us into this diffing view where it will work out exactly what has changed across the database schema, as well as any edge functions changes we've made in this branch. So for now, we've just got this super simple schema change where we're adding a column for comments. So let's merge that branch in. And this will kick off a workflow where it generates a migration and then runs it against that production main branch. And once that's finished, we can switch back to our main branch and head over to the table editor, click on our post table, and see we now have that extra column for comments. So what happens if things don't go completely to plan? They always do when you're working on a team, right? But let's just talk hypotheticals here. So let's create a new branch where we can add likes to our blog, and let's create that branch. And let's add another branch called add likes and favorites and create that branch. Now if we switch over to the add likes branch, and once that branch is up and running, we can look at our post table and then add a new column for our likes. And this one should obviously be an integer with the default value of 0. And let's click save to create that column. And now if we switch over to our other branch and pretend we're the other person on the team who is adding likes and favorites, there isn't great communication across this team, but that's okay. If we click the post table and then add a new column, again for likes, only this time this dev has decided this is going to be a text column. And let's click save to add that one. And then let's say to add those favorites, they want to use an edge function, or they can deploy a new edge function directly from the dashboard. And let's just say this hello world template is exactly what they're looking for. So let's click deploy function. Now, let's assume that the first team member was able to implement those likes much faster than someone who's implementing likes and also adding favorites. So let's switch over to our add likes branch. And again, if we drop this down, we can review changes. Again, this is a super simple schema change where we're just adding a column for likes. So let's merge that one in. This will kick off that workflow to create a migration and run it against our production main branch. And once that's finished, we can switch over to our main branch again and go over to the table editor and click our post table and confirm that new likes column has been added to the post table. Now, if we switch back over to the branch for that poor team member who has been adding likes and favorites, they've been slaving away at this for days, weeks, they've put everything they have into it. Now it's finally time to merge it in. So let's drop this down and review those changes. Uh-oh, Caution sign. Oh wait, no, it's okay. The database schema is just out of date. We're still going okay. Haven't wasted a huge amount of time yet. Let's just update the branch. What could possibly go wrong? Oh no, the workflow has failed. The yellow caution has become a red caution. This is very bad. So Supabase can't cleanly merge these two branches because one has created the likes column and then the other one is trying to create a column that already exists. And so we need to resolve this manually. Now, the dashboard is suggesting that we consider creating a fresh branch from the latest production branch to resolve these potential conflicts. And this is probably what you're going to want to do if it's quite a significant amount of changes. But here we can actually read through the logs and see that when the error occurred, it was because column likes of relation posts already exists. So we could actually resolve this conflict manually by going back over to the table editor and then selecting our post table and deleting our likes column since it already exists in that main branch. And now, again, if we review those changes, we'll see our database schema is still out of date because it failed to update our branch the last time we tried this. So let's update our branch again. And we'll see this time that workflow has completed successfully and our database schema changes have actually disappeared because we don't actually want to change the schema anymore. And if we have a look under edge functions, we can see our edge function that's responsible for adding favorites. So we can click merge branch to merge this one into main. Again, this will kick off a process to create a migration and run that against our main production branch. And once that's completed successfully, we can go back to our main branch and look at the table editor, making sure that our post table still has that likes column and it's an integer. And then over in our edge functions, we can see our clever worker that's responsible for allowing a user to be able to favorite one of our blogs. Now, manually creating these branches in the Supabase dashboard can be a super fast way to test out a concept. But if you're working on a team and that team happens to be using GitHub to track changes to the rest of the application, then you definitely want to use our GitHub integration to automate this process. And it's super simple. When we create a new branch, we see this option to sync with a GitHub branch. So we can configure this. We can choose a GitHub repository. I created one before this video called Branching Demo. We can use this one to deploy changes to our Supabase production branch. So we can say our main branch in GitHub is what we want to keep in sync with. And then we can enable this automatic branching feature, which creates new preview branches for every branch that we open a pull request for. And just so that doesn't get unwieldy, we can set a branching limit of 50 in this case, and we can say only create branches when Supabase files change. So when we have changes to our schema or edge functions, rather than just any branch we're working on in GitHub. So let's enable this integration. And now anytime you open a PR to merge a GitHub branch into your main branch, a Supabase branch will automatically be created for you so you can follow the exact same PR process for getting a feature deployed to production and keep all of the discussion about a feature alongside your code changes, both for your application and also Supabase. And when the PR is merged, a new version of your application is automatically built and deployed, as well as those migrations run against your production branch in Supabase, keeping everything in sync. And now that you've automated your backend development, let's take a look at how you can keep an eye on how it's going. But for that, you need to check out this video right here. We show off some new ways to create reports and monitor logs in your Supabase dashboard so you can keep an eye on what's important for your application. But until next time, keep building cool stuff.